of Mexico. And in the middle of that Mexico, what I would term as the heart of Mexico, the center of Mexico, a geographical center of Mexico. Okay. Next slide. Okay. And in that center, there's this wonderful sanctuary, a wonderful church, and it's called the Cristo Rey. Some of you guys might have heard the term Cristo Rey. There's one in Brazil, there's one in Mexico, there's one in Colombia, there's one in New Mexico in the United States. But this one is very special, and I feel like it's special. It sits on top of a mountain, 8,900 feet above sea level, 2,700 meters up. Okay, next slide. Okay, and in the center of this church, there's a statue of Jesus. And it's also a very large statue, 75 feet, 23 meters. It's a wonderful place to visit in that heart of that Mexican country. Okay, next. Okay, next. Okay, this is good. Yeah, and as beautiful it is, you know, that structure on top of that mountain, and as beautiful it is, with that statue of Christ welcoming everyone. There's something more beautiful that happens. Okay, and it happens right around January 6th. And that January 6th will become a significance for you a little bit later. Okay, guys ready? Cowboys. Okay, I call them Mexican cowboys. You can call them cowgirls. You can call it cowmen. But Mexican cowboys. Okay, next. Well, 3,000 cowboys make their journey about 3 days before January 6th. And they all take a journey. And some actually come as far as Houston, believe it or not. And they all kind of start off in their homes or their towns, and they all kind of migrate to this sanctuary on a 3-day journey. And this journey is called Cristo Rey. And once they're there, 8,700 feet up, once they're there, making that strenuous journey, okay, they have a journey with Christ, and they're blessed by the clergymen at this time. Okay? Next. Okay? Why on horseback? You know, why not drive there? Why not walk there? Right? It's 8,700 feet. Why not take a week? Or if you can drive, you can take a day. Okay. We kind of have to go back a few years to 1927. 1927 marks the day, January 1st, 1927, where Christianity was outlawed in Mexico. Okay, so on this day, okay, a war broke out, okay, against the Mexican government and what we would term as Cristeros, right, Christmen. Unfortunately, this war lasted 1,000 days, about 2.5 years. Okay, most of us were not born at that time, but after the bloodshed, 90,000 had lost their lives. Okay, so next one. Okay, so this statue was placed a few years later. And this statue was kind of significant because when that original structure was built, the structure was about half its size. Okay? This structure stands at about 75 feet. Okay? It's a testament to the will of Christians in Mexico. Okay. Now, after that devastating war, the Christianity survived. I think so. In fact, they put a statue twice as big. Makes sense. Okay. Next one. Now, why on horseback? What we do this? It's because those who wanted to defend Christianity back in 1927 through 29, those who took part in putting this statute together at around 1944, said, I am going to make a pilgrimage to our God, Jesus. Okay? And throughout time, since 1957, when this horseback rider started with 13 riders, the original Cristeros, their families, and it's grown over the years. And this happens every year today. That's why we get to 3,000 today. Okay? As they're shouting, Viva Cristo Rey, okay, long live Christ the King, it brings back memories, right? It brings back a lot of things. 3,000 riders, okay? But there's a little bit more. Now, this war broke out on January 1st, as kind of the history will tell you. But why did they select January 6th? Okay, we need to go back, not to 1927, but I feel like we need to go back 2,000 years. Okay, Epiphany. We heard the word Epiphany a lot. Okay, the 3 wise men. We heard about 3 wise men. What did the 3 wise men believe in at that time, 2,000 years ago? Okay. They believed that Christ, our God, came in flesh. That is the why of the 3 wise men. And that is why these Cristeros, after so many years, chose not January 1st as a memory of a conflict, but a memory that Christ, God, came. Okay? Not a political decision, not a social, economic decision, but a decision for God. Okay? So they rode. Okay? Paying tribute to the 3 wise men. And they ride, paying tribute to Christ. If you can kind of figure out like these 3,000 people on horseback shouting, Viva Christ, Viva Christ, Viva Christ, dust everywhere. It's a very powerful sight. Okay? And they have a singular purpose. Okay? One journey, one faith. One journey, one faith. Together. That's what these 3,000 riders do in Mexico today. Okay. Now, 3,000 riders is very powerful. We can all be kind of inspired by it. But I want to take it down a notch. Because of this, I want to talk about a journey of one person. Okay? One person. Next. Okay. Her name, Enidina Cuellar Pacheco. So I'll call her Miss Pacheco for now. Okay? I want to spend some time here because I want to talk about how I derive of this history and how I derive of this one person. Okay? So I was home a couple of weeks ago. Well, I'm home every day. But a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting on my couch. I was about half asleep. And the TV was on. And guess what was on? Oprah. How many of you guys watch Oprah? You guys all love Oprah, right? She has her own network. Okay, love Oprah. Christina. And they had a clip of her. And the show was about belief and faith. And she happened to come on. And it caught my eye. I was like, yes. So what happened? Okay. She was writing for her faith, as this clip was telling you. But she was doing a little bit more than that. She was writing for her son. Okay? It may be common, it may not be common, but her story was that her son, a teenager, was in a very bad car accident a couple of years ago. Okay? And out of this accident, he had a massive brain damage. Okay? And he has to be in a wheelchair. And at best, on his best day, he may be able to take 2 steps without any help. Okay? Other times, he needs the help of a wheelchair. Or his two brothers would help him. Okay? So, Miss Pacheco said, I have faith in God. I ain't going to join the 3,000 cowboys and cowgirls. I'm going to go on this march. I'm going to climb 8,700 feet to ask for God's blessings for my son. So she took on a journey. Before that, she had never ridden a horse. Now, if you come kind of close to a horse, they're pretty big, right? Very powerful, very muscular. You can get hurt. You can get paralyzed. And in some instances, you can die. But she said, I'm going to do it. And that's what I saw in this show at Oprah. She wanted to do it first, was her faith in God. Second, she wanted to do it for her son, who was injured in that tragic car accident. And third, she wanted to do it for her family. So she took this courageous effort to learn to ride a horse, to take this 3-day journey and go ask for God's miracle. Okay? Yeah, it's not so common, but you can hear stories like this. So, next slide. Why did I come to this verse? It doesn't have to go back that much. I need to go back just a couple months, or maybe a few months. And this one I credit PJ, who is not here. Maybe he's kind of listening in. But this Matthew chapter 17, verse 20. Okay, replied, because you have so little faith, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, okay, move from here to there. Okay? Now, why this verse? Well, this verse is on a piece of paper, and it's taped on our refrigerator at home. And it's been kind of taped there for several months, maybe years, I don't know. I forget. So this thing is taped, and over the months, it's taped over with things. Sometimes, I see a paper that Kenny brought home with an A from somewhere. It gets taped over it. Or I'll see Audrey's algebra test taped over it. And then it's exposed. And then I see it, a picture covering it. But I read this verse. And I keep saying, going back and forth a couple months. And this is how it's kind of all coming together. It's like, you can tell this mountain, move from here to there. And I was thinking, move from here to there. Very puzzling how this verse is. How could I do that? Okay? How could I do that? Okay. Friends, I'll tell you. Next paragraph. Next slide. Okay? 2,000 years ago, 3 wise men recognized as God is flesh. 88 years ago, our Christian brothers in Mexico gave up their lives so that we can recognize Jesus as King. Next slide. Okay? And since that time, 3,000 people on horseback. Okay? They come every year to that church to renew their faith. So that people like Miss Pacheco can walk with her faith, pray for her son, pray for her family, and have total faith in Christ. Okay? Next one. Were mountains moved? Were mountains moved? Okay. 2,000 years ago, I say an entire world was moved by the act of the 3 wise men. I said it moved. Next. Again, I say, were mountains moved? Yes. In 1927, in Mexico, an entire nation had moved. So I say it moved. Next one is, every year, 3,000 men and women and children get on their horse to make a pilgrimage during Epiphany to make that mountain move. So that people like Miss Pacheco could make that mountain move. Not for herself, but for her son, her husband, and her family. Her husband was not the most upright Christian, if you can say, in this vertical. But ever since Ms. Pacheco got on this journey, in that video clip you see her, he is a total 100% supporter of her wife's act of faith. They didn't move mountains for her and her family. I say it did. Okay. Next. Okay. Is it possible with God? Is it impossible with God? And did that verse that's taped on our refrigerator, did that mountain moved? And I said it did. Okay. And I hope it moves you through one verse that's taped on my refrigerator to an expansion of knowing what happened in Mexico just a little bit less than 90 years ago. Okay. What is possible always seems to start with one. One person can make that difference. Okay, next. So I say, nothing is impossible with Christ. Nothing is impossible with Christ our King. Okay. As I leave you, I was thinking of coming up with a nice prayer, and I thought, I'm not good at praying. And I thought, I will sing for you guys. And as you know, God has not given me that gift. So I invite Louis to do my prayer for me, for Christ, our King.